those three men you killed? Was it gang related?
Well, sort of. I was never in a gang in my life. At the time of my arrest, I was in college, on the wrestling team, getting straight A's and everything. All of a sudden, I decided I wanted to go see my cousin. He was my favorite cousin, but let's say he lived in a crack-infested, dilapidated neighborhood. I went to see him. As we were walking down the street, three brothers pulled up on us and they shot my cousin dead. As he fell to the ground, a 9mm fell out of his pocket. I picked up the gun and went berserk. I don't know what came over me, man. All I do know is that I wound up getting the next 7 years of my life in here. And what about you? With your wisdom and your positivity, you should be out there giving it to our brothers and sisters. How did you get busted?
Well, I was trying to do the right thing in the neighborhood. I was part of a teen mentoring program. We took young people out of the neighborhood and we showed them a lifestyle that other than one that they was prescribed for. Well, there were these guys, they were dealing in front of the community, dealing drugs, selling. And when I didn't get any satisfaction from the authorities, I went over to them one day and politely asked them to do business elsewhere. There were two of them. Tall one, thin one. He came at me with a knife. Being that my inner felt it was threatened, through some mysterious way, the knife wound up in his gut, and I wound up in it. Some of the people in the neighborhood, and when I tried to work with them and everything else, well, because I was so vocal about the corruption, they wouldn't help me. In any other circumstance, this would have been self-defense, you know? That's why I can understand that movie Hurricane and see why perhaps they might have set that brother up. But hell, I only got 2 more years and they haven't stopped me. Look, I'm even talking to a brother like you. See? Now, when those guys rolled on you and your brother, your cousin, I could understand your anger then because it was self-defense. But see, you letting that guy over there trigger your anger. And you better control your anger, because if that man or any other man triggers your anger, you wind right back up in a place like this.
That's why I love you, my brother. Because I guess subconsciously, you take the place of the father I never had. My father died when I was 7 years old. And my mother worked real hard to be both mother and father to me, my brother, and sister.
Well, you're very lucky.
But she made sure that we got out of school. And we made something of ourselves. And because of that, I'm very happy. And I must say, I didn't know my father very well. But he lives on through the memories and the stories that my mother used to tell me about him. That's why I like the wisdom that you have. And your conversation is so positive and righteous.
So I guess it would be safe to say that the warden is positive too.
My brother, where are you coming from? The only thing righteous that could come to that guy is his quick demise off of this planet.
Look, what I'm trying to say, my young brother, is for so long, we've let the tone of one's conversation determine whether they were righteous or positive or not. But oftentimes, that's all it is. Words, conversation. Now, both you and I know that the warden is a beast and incapable of any type of intellect or spiritual reasoning. But yet, in a press conference, you would think that he was the proud possessor of a Nobel Peace Prize. And he's just like some of our so-called leaders that for years have used words and slogans just to lead our people into a dead-end path. You know, keep open line. What happens? You don't get anything after that. You see? So it's about time that we black people start looking at what people are doing and not what they're saying. See? Now I know that you're a brother and you're trying to get some knowledge. There's a little something that I penned Might call a little jailhouse poetry.
Let's hear it.
But there might be some wisdom in this for you. It's called The Prisoner. I may be in prison and doing time, but I'm not the only one that's confined. My bars are where my eyes can see. You can't see yours, so you think you're free. I am in prison where life is very slow. I wonder how much you're progressing in the ghetto. Crack, liquor, pills, luxury cars are all a part of your bars. To you, life is joyful and funny. But can you say that you control your own community and its money? While you're putting money in the oppressor's pocket, buying drugs, liquor, so you can act a fool? Who are your children learning about? Can you honestly say you control your own schools? The landlord comes around for the rent, or your stuff goes in the street. And now it's December and you still have no heat. You look for justice in one court after another. But how can you win when you're fighting that man's brother? Now you tell me, are you in heaven or in hell? Or am I the only one confined in a cell?
We cannot treat each and every one of our fellow citizens as equal in the sight of God. Then who would be content to stand in another man's shoes and have the color of his skin changed? Who would then be content for the counsel of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have occurred since President Lincoln freed the slaves. Yet their grandsons, their heirs, are not fully free. Not fully free from the bonds of indignity. Not fully free to eat in a restaurant, or to sleep in a motel, or send their children to the best public school of choice. We preach freedom around the world, and we mean it. But are we to say to the Negro, and much more important to ourselves, that we have no class or caste system except with regards to Negroes? This is a problem that should be solved in the courts rather than in the streets, but in the homes of each and every one of our fellow Americans.